And hello everyone, welcome back to a different kind of episode of the TMFAST No Breaks podcast today. This is I think we said something like lightning quick or something like that is the name we're going to go with here.
Yeah,
And
like
this is
TM Lightning Fast, yeah.
Yeah, TM Lightning Fast. Just purely because there's been a lot of things that have happened around the game in the last week, and we didn't really want to wait for the second episode of the main podcast to release. So we thought we would just quickly record this and deliver it to you guys as soon as possible, because there's just been so many things that have happened in the past week and a half of around not just Trackmania, but just the entire franchise itself. So it's a lot of exciting things happening at the moment, and I cannot wait to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, there's definitely a lot. I want to skip over the kind of the pleasantries. Let's just get straight into this because,
Yeah,
we
for
don't
sure.
have a lot of time. We want to make this really fast. So let's get this. So I think the first thing we want to talk about is the Trackmania trainer. And the big, like the major thing around this as well is the first officially publicly released task tools. So to give a bit of context on all this, we'll kind of start off. Just in general, not just in terms of these tools, but in terms of tassing, in general across the entire like sort of franchise and the community, and especially with TM 2020, how this has kind of all come together. So I'm gonna spit a lot of stuff here, so bear with me while I do this. So
Yep.
when we look at um when we look at the first official task tools across the entire franchise, we're looking at TM Interface. So TM Interface was released on the 30th of May in 2021, and this was exclusive for Nations Forever and United Forever. So prior to this, there wasn't really any tassing. Like there was a few sort of like input tools that you could do, like within a few members of the community, but it was very tight knit, and everything was kind of more, proof of concepts. Like you might do some like spliced runs or whatever. Maybe you would do something with like cheat engine you could do and do it offline, but not, post it officially. But there wasn't really anything like before sort of like 2019, like that's sort of that kind of areas where it kind of started to kick off. And then and especially with things like cheat engine, where we had the manipulation of the game speed, that's where we have the whole cheating scandal that happened in 2020. And then that ended up like Donadigo, who's like a great mind in like in terms of that sort of side of things. you know Him and Wirtle do this investigation. It comes out about 6 months later, like end of 2020, you get the competitive or the competition patch for United and Nations, developed by Donadigo. And it's like what every record that's posted on TMX needs to do it. Like I've only just started playing like United Nations and actually like hunting for stuff. And I got like my first official record last week, which is great. On that, and I had to go through the process of, you get the mod manager, and you've got to actually select the competitive patch. If you don't, the game will automatically sort of put you offline. It keeps you offline, so like you can't connect to the servers. Not that that really does anything, but but you can't also upload your replays to TMX, so they won't be counted if you don't have the competitive patch installed and actually active on your runs. So that was its own thing. And then not long after that, after this has all come up with Donadigo, about 6 months later, he comes out with TM Interface, and immediately, like first couple of weeks, like we're finding new stuff, and like not myself personally, but the tassing community and people that want to play with these tools, they start breaking maps, and it's great and it's fantastic. It's awesome to see like how quickly people can just come up with these ideas and just start nose boosting all over the place and whatever. Um, in terms of 2020, like Trackmania 2020, people were kind of asking questions after this, and this was maybe more around like 2022, in terms of when, like, is there going to be an official tool for TM 2020? Now, the differences between this game and every other game in the franchise is that the game is always online. As soon as you drive a run on any map that's been uploaded, if you are online on the official Ubisoft servers, your run gets uploaded instantly.
Yeah.
So it's right there. You can see the leaderboard, you can look at the ghost that's just been run, everything. There's no uploading, there's nothing external. The game has its own sort of anti-cheat, as far as I can tell. Although that is questionable sometimes
Yeah,
if you look at
we
some of
like to
the
think.
some maps that
Yeah,
there's physics that like you start maps with reactor boosters and stuff that we've seen like
yeah,
in like on starter maps and whatever, like people just create accounts, use cheat engine, whatever, manipulate the physics and do what they want, and those records get wiped. So you never see those, but they're just funny. Like when they
yeah.
happen, like they're gonna get removed, but it's just funny that someone's just like going, oh yeah, I'll do this, and then
They've given it a go. Yeah,
yeah, and they're just like, oh, I wonder how long this will stay, but it's just like, why are you doing this? It's just gonna get removed and your account's gonna get banned. So
yeah,
but then these people just make a new account and do it again anyway because it's all account banned. Like the bans are only account, it's not hardware. But anyway, that's a side topic. So if we look at around this time, like say 2022, right? So there's a guy called Bucks. He actually starts uploading TASs for different maps on like Bucks's YouTube channel. Like he's got a couple of videos up, like on Trackmania 2020, and and then you start seeing like, oh, I see Summer 2022-07, I think it's like his first actual TAS video, and then you've got other ones that are like other Nadeo maps. Chrome as Hell is one of them. Yeah, he's still got those videos up. So if you find his page, I think it's just Bux on YouTube. Check him out. It's like the first official tassing stuff that we see on 2020. But
yeah,
a year ago, he came out on a Reddit post because someone was asking what that sort of possibility is, and he came out and said, he's got the tools, but they're private because it's very hard to safeguard 100%. And he doesn't want them getting into the wrong hands and people start doing it and cheating. And fair enough, that's fine. So Bucks is the guy that's doing it. He's doing the tassing, and it stays this way. We see some tasses here and there, and that's it. Then we fast forward to earlier this year, and a player called Twind comes up with his own tools. So Bucks has his own tools that no one else has. Twind has created his own tools, and he's provided these tools to Manama. And if you don't know who Manama is, maybe you do. You might have seen his videos pop up more and more recently on official tracks and other things that he's posting, and he's starting to create content about. I think his most recent video is about how speed slides work in the game. Like a lot of technical explanations on stuff. Check him out too.
yeah.
Fantastic
Super
YouTube
interesting
channel.
stuff.
Yeah. So he's come from the Super Mario 64 community. He like made contributions in the most recent 120 star TAS. So, and he's like well trusted by Twind. So Twind gives the keys to Manama, and Manama does his own tassing. And at this point, only 3 people can tass. Like Manama's not providing this to anyone else. Twind isn't either. It's these 3 people: Bucks, Twind, and Manama. Now we fast forward to about a couple of days ago, and like literally 2 days ago at this point,
Yeah,
from the time we're recording this, and we have an official public TAS tool that is released by Achepta. I hope I'm saying your name right. Achepta and Skycrafter. And that's where all this comes from. So we're at this point, right? And I think what we want to know is a couple of things. So, who are these guys? Who's Achepta? Who's Skycrafter? Um, what is what's also going on? Because it's not only Achepta himself hasn't only just come up with the TAS tool. He's also come up with kind of an external tool that is now a plugin into OpenPlanet, where you can better sort of train flying respawns. So
yeah. Which is game changing.
which is game changing. Like it's a big deal. Because how many times have you like tried to train a map and like you're trying to respawn, or like you want to train a hard map and try and improve your times, and you get a pretty crappy flying respawn, and you've got to start your run all over again. But you might be on like a
Yep.
sick run before that. Well, this kind of tool, it allows you to basically just go back to a certain point of your run that you're in and start your runs from there and constantly do it. And it's also really great for things like part maps. Like there's no need for part maps anymore. This
Yeah.
tool essentially replaces part maps, so it's so much easier. Like you just use it on the map that you're playing, and it's a great feature that has been brought in. And he's got a video on that. Also check out his YouTube channel. But to give context to who Achepta is, So he actually he actually started playing or discovering the franchise around about the same time as like I did. You know, spring 2021, we're all sort of looking at Virtual's videos and his content and the whole Riolu cheating scandal.
Yep.
So, so there was that thing, and then obviously there was the launch of Team Interface, which I went through earlier. So he was saying that he only started playing in early 2022, and he discovered Mika. And if this, I didn't know this either, but Achepta actually was the editor of Mika's YouTube channel. Um,
Oh, right.
once he'd sort of discovered him, he became the editor, which is really sick. I had no idea. Um, So then Achepta meets a guy called Branko. So Branko helps him to kind of get AT times in the campaign, like improving the game. They become good friends, start playing, and they start getting into RPG maps. Then around fall 2022, they go into TM2 because apparently around this time, this is when it's considered sort of the golden age of RPG on TM2. So basically, he ended up there and stayed there for a long time. So at this point, he's got 4,000 hours in TM2 just playing RPG. So it's a lot of
Lord.
time. Oh, it's a lot of time in TM2 over the course of
That
four
is, yeah.
years. Like, it's like equivalent as myself, like 1,000 hours a year. It's heaps, right?
Yeah.
And obviously at that point, he becomes a member of the RPG community. And then in spring 2024, he created the website tmrpg.com. So it's an RPG hub that covers all three of the games. So I'm assuming like United, TM2, and I believe 2020, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. But that's, yeah, actually, I'm right. There you go. So so it's got leaderboards and that sort of stuff. So it's like got all the RPG maps and everything. So it's a really cool website. Check it out as well. TMRPG.com. So with all that, he's hunting these and he's kind of going, all right, TM2 lacks what TM20 does, which is flying respawns, and he wanted to find a way to do it. So he started doing some TM related stuff in programming and met Big Bang, who was massive with Envy Mix. He was responsible for, putting all of the cars into like TM Turbo, so you can go and play TM Turbo and play any of the maps with any of the cars that have released, which is great, and getting him into all that. And then eventually, a chapter has actually come up with the plugin for TM2 for flying respawn. So finally, that is a plugin, although it's not yet released. But keep an eye on that. So that's a fair thing. But then after doing that as well, he continued doing some research, started working on the trainer plugin for 2020, which is what I mentioned earlier. It's just like an improved way of flying respawns, essentially.
Yeah.
And then that's around that time as well. He met Skycrafter, um, who we'll get into a bit in terms of him, but he is one of the probably the most well-known tassers in the entirety of Trackmania. Um, and they sort of created what's called Tick after a couple months, and that's basically where we get to with the whole task tool. So that's kind of the whole history around him. Um, and now we'll kind of get into Skycrafter, I think. Skycrafter, as I've said, he's probably the most well-known name besides Jav or Virtuoso,
Yeah.
who's a New Zealand Tasser Trackmania player back in
One of the
like,
greatest to ever do it,
dude,
especially in the
like,
TMNF days. Just so well
yeah,
known. Featured in a million virtual videos, one
exactly,
way or
and
another.
and that's it. Like he's like Jav, like yeah, Virtuoso and Virtuoso is so well known.
Yeah.
Um, and Skycrafter is probably well known over the last couple of years, but where this the thing is with Skycrafter, I think people will see him as controversial, and and obviously the reason is because of the A15 world record that was cheated. So he used task tools to do a nose boost, which was
Yeah.
theorized, and it's what the community was going for. At the time, they were trying to beat the world record with a nose boost. He managed to do it. At first, said it was legitimate. Turns out it wasn't. The the
No.
the run was removed, and obviously he was banned from the leaderboards, and was also removed from being officially recognized in the TM sheet. So in terms of like, because this doesn't really affect the tassing community, he wasn't like, this was really the only punishment, I would say, was that he couldn't officially be recognized on the TM task sheet of all the official like official maps in the game. He can't be officially recognized as creating tasks for these. It has to be other members, even though he's such a like. And since then, since the cheating, he's done a lot for the TM task community, and I think there's a lot of people that have welcomed him in, but players like Virtuoso have always been skeptical in terms of the punishment he received. Virtuoso didn't think it was enough, and you might have seen more recently, or if you're in the community, you would obviously be aware. But if you're not, Virtuoso basically has just like shut down everything on his side. Um, anything that he was working on with the website that he had for tasking and whatnot, it's all gone. He's effectively just like removed himself from the tasking community, which is a real shame.
It
And
is, yeah, 100%.
it sucks that that has been the case. And I think it feels like for him, no one is really on his side, and he feels like he's been shunned. And that's just a shitty situation to be in. Like that,
Yeah,
I feel for him honestly, and it really does suck. And obviously, with something like this, where Skycrafter is working um on this task tool for 2020, it's gonna make him feel even worse. So
it creates more of a divide, which is it's just for someone of his
yeah,
caliber and of someone who, until like as far as I was aware, as an outsider, especially in the
mm,
TMNF community,
yep,
was someone that was really incredibly respected, as he deserved to be. Like,
yep,
Virtuoso is just a phenomenal player and one of the cornerstones of the not just the tasking scene but the Trackmania scene in general.
yeah,
And so to see that was how his exit has gone, that's how he was treated as well, is
mm,
just really unfortunate that there just couldn't be a middle ground. Like, I suppose in situations like this, it is hard to find that. But
mm.
still, we wish him all the best. Hopefully he'll come back
Well, that's it. Yeah,
at some point.
fingers crossed. Because I mean, like even on old like nations maps, you can go back and see like some of the strats that he pioneered were like revolutionary for the
Yeah.
time. And I mean, and especially having someone from like the Oceania community, like
Yeah, yeah.
there's not many players that you would know of, during that time that would be, Australia, New Zealand, so that representation for us in New Zealand, that's such a big deal. And to lose him for us, I think that's a killer blow.
Yeah.
So it really does suck. But I think it's interesting because there's a few things to unpack with this when you're looking at the tasks. Like, so I think there's obviously the question of when a task comes out on TM 2020, what is there in place to make sure that any of these runs that are tasked don't get uploaded to the leaderboards? Because as I said, this is an online game. This game is
Yep.
always online. Like if you're offline and do a run, as soon as you get back online, that run is posted. So it ends up being always online. And the question is, does this tool have, or do the task tools have the resources or the mitigation tools to safeguard against runs being uploaded to the leaderboard? And from what I've seen, from what I've heard, it does. In fact, probably more so than what the private tools have. I don't have an issue with the private tools. The fact that they're gate kept by trusted people, and those that are like that they don't want this out, and they're so skeptical of any sort of safeguarding from anyone else. They just don't want it in the public. You know, they're saying that these safeguards are even better than that. Obviously, they're not going to go into what they are, because if people find out what those safeguards are, it could spark people to try and reverse engineer those kind of those kind of things, and then break the tools, and that's when you've got your own problems, and that's where you get your sort of your issues there. Um, I think the tool itself is amazing. And I think having that in the game, being able to find a way for it to not interfere with the leaderboards and be its own thing, and the things that can come from it, just the ways that you can see maps like being broken and test, certain
Yeah.
theories about if, can this strat be done on this map, like it's going to break the game wide open. It's amazing that we have a tool like this. It's taken like 6 years for us to get this, and I'm glad that we have it, and I hope that there isn't anything controversial that comes from it. it'll just be a question of time in terms of what happens, and if there
Yeah.
is a controversy, what the community and in particular what Nadeo does as well, because these are things
Yeah.
that are all going to be considerations here. Like, I think with this, um, and I don't think, like, even going back to the controversy point of the tool itself, like, oh, people might try and reverse engineer it, and I think the people that beta tested, like Schmaniel and Wircher, they're not experts in reverse engineering or coding or anything like that. So, you know, I'm not sure if anyone else has been tested in trying to reverse engineer and break this sort of thing. So that, I think, is the only real skepticism that you can have. And then, you know, some people might have the question of, oh, someone like Skycrafter, he's cheated once before. You know, once a cheater, always a cheater, right? There are people that have that opinion, and that's their opinion. And I think people are going to have the question of, you know, he's done it before. What's not to say that Skycrafter is going to, or anyone in general, is going to use this tool to cheat and make this a run, that's seen on
Yeah.
the leaderboards, and they try and, deceive the community because we don't want to go through this again and all this kind of stuff. So, look, honestly, I don't see it happening, and I get it. And it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, usually it's the pros or the best players in the world that are doing this because they're experts, and it's this whole thing, right? But Skycrafter and Achepta, they're both so far disconnected from 2020 in general. Like, they haven't competed on any of these maps. They're not pros. You know, they're not experts at hunting world records on maps and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. They're not like that. I think it'll be very obvious if someone like them were to cheat. And I don't see them doing it. Like, why create the tool and make it public just to then cheat on your own tool? It just seems like so far fetched to me. Like, I don't think that is a controversy in itself. I don't see that being an issue.
Yeah.
In particular for these guys, it is a question of what the community does, I think, and where we kind of go to from there. But I think as well, at the same point, what I would like to see personally, but I don't think is going to happen, is I would like some Nadeo communication on not their thoughts on the tool, unless they purely think that it should be banned, which would be very odd considering we have TM interface, and that nothing ever happens from it and nothing gets uploaded. So I don't see why they would need to bring an opinion anyway. But I think they should make it very clear, as we did see recently with the whole um, internet connection abuse thing that happened a couple months
Yeah.
back. I think they need to make it very clear and jump on this very fast and remind the community that anything, like any sort of external tool that is used to, like this, that would be used to be malicious or post runs that are to be seen as like legitimate when they're really not, you know, they will not be accepted, and these players will be banned. And abuse of these, and the thing is too, abuse of these tools is going to make these, like, if these get abused, people are going to shut this down. Not only shut this down, but it's even been said as well by Miss from Open Planet, not Miss Please,
Yeah.
being
Not
Phoebe,
Phoebe.
not Phoebe, but Miss from Open Planet. If these kind of things get abused, you know, there could be a situation where we see Open Planet scrapped entirely, and I don't want to go through that.
No, that would be catastrophic for the
It'd
game.
be insane. Like, Open Planet has created so much for the player base, and to see it go away because of a couple of bad eggs in the community would be the absolute worst thing. So there definitely needs to be some very quick responses and very quick things that happen in this. Personally, but I think, like, these things, we just want to get this stuff out there and really want to make sure that people are aware of what this is, you know, what is happening, and how, and like, these guys are super approachable too. I mean, in terms of everything, like anything that is being worked on, they've got the Tastic Discord. Join the Discord, ask your questions if you've got questions or raise concerns. Like, these guys are more than happy to answer anything that you throw at them. So I don't think there's any controversy there. I think the tool is amazing. I think, like, we're gonna see more things come from this game as well because of it. Um, it'll just be amazing to see what the community comes up with, because, like, this game's been out for 6 years. there's a lot you can task and a lot of
Yeah,
theory
there's a lot
crafting
of things
there.
to unearth.
And we might even go back and see some stuff like old maps that now have new strategies thanks to task tools, or new maps that are coming into the campaign where the task tools will help us like break things open in ways that we never thought were possible. So, I'm really excited to see the future of this tool,
Yeah,
but
for
I'm
sure.
also kind of holding out bit of
Yeah, it's
a
like
little
we're
bit there.
waiting in excitement, but also with bated breath because
Yeah.
the way that I see it is, and obviously it's really just depending on. I think there's always going to be someone that's going to look at this task tool and think, I want to cheat, I want to break the system, and it
Mm.
really comes down to how motivated are they to do that.
Yep.
Because in a game like Trackmania, especially as you said, with the Riolu situation happening,
Hmm.
that people are very vigilant of these kind of things. If you're a random player that suddenly pops up out of nowhere and you've got just some insane run and you don't have like I remember funny enough with the Skycrafter situation, right? One of the reasons why no one thought he was legit is because he didn't have a million different replays of
Mm.
attempts. And
Yeah.
everyone just went, but like as a hunter, as a player, you always take those, you always do that. And so there's like a lot of little like small things that can add up if you don't play this game enough, and if you don't grind, if you're not in the community, if you're just some random person out of nowhere that no one's ever heard of, and you've just suddenly got a world record. It is sketchy, it looks weird, it looks different.
Mm.
And people are usually on top of that, so that's the a bit of the hope there. But I
Yep.
think this tool could either be incredibly amazing for the community and really unearth and unleash potentially a new era of TM20, or it could, I mean, theoretically speaking, right, if it was to go to shit and Open Planet gets removed, records get wiped, it could be devastating for the game. It could even kill a large portion of it just because of how much the players rely on things like Open Planet.
Mm.
And so it is definitely it's going to be a weird couple of months, I'd say,
Yeah.
before things really settle down. It's always going to be in the back of people's minds, but hopefully it is fine. And if it is fine, it's incredible. It's amazing, and what a
Mm.
Chapter and Skycrafter have done is revolutionary. But it just takes one person to figure something out,
Yeah.
and it could be floodgates.
Yeah, I think the only other thing to consider as well, and this is more for the TM task community in general,
Mm.
is where does the sheet go, the master sheet go in terms of, you've got 2020 maps, they're all official maps. There's a big project to try and, task and break every single map and optimize as much as possible. Now, if this comes over to 2020, where does Skycraft sit in terms of being able to upload runs and allow runs to be officially recognized as a tasser for these runs, because they aren't official runs? That's probably a
Yeah.
question more posed for them, especially considering his contribution to these task tools. So I can't answer it. I don't think Archie would be able to either, but I think that's
God
just
no.
no. But I think that's just a question we'd probably pose to the TM task community. As my
Yeah.
only other thing.
And
But
God, that name, man, it's this is a little bit of a tangent for me, but just as a TM Taz member in terms of the Trackmania Tasmania Club,
the state,
um, the state, the
the
state,
Australian state
the
down the bottom of our
Australian
little
state.
country.
Yeah. That was always something for me and for the other Taz community members of just like well, hang on a minute. Like TM Taz, that's our club, that's our thing. And I want to say a huge thank you and shout out to Daggy as well, because they mentioned it. They're like, hey, that's also like the name of the Tasmanian club. Like, just be careful of that. And I found out recently they hold events called Tasmania. Like, come
Mm.
on, man.
They're sick videos, to be fair. Like, check
Yeah,
out
like
the
they're really
Tasmania
cool.
channel. It's
But
great.
it's just like, but I remember Hollis made a really funny joke about saying they could change the name to frame assisted speedrunning tool, which is TMFAST, which is really really genius. But so that's like my main qualm at the moment is that they completely snatched our chain in that regard. And
Yep.
I'm waiting for the moment for me to join a live lobby. Someone be like, oh, why are you repping the Tassing community? And that's I'm not looking forward to that. But otherwise, as long as nothing else goes wrong or untoward,
Mm.
incredible. Just unbelievable what has happened, and just
Yeah.
it'll be so interesting to see what happens from here.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be definitely a watch this space for sure. But take advantage of the tools, like try them out if you haven't already. I think they're amazing to give a go, and just to see if your thoughts about certain maps, if you can make them a reality. And
Yeah.
especially for the pros as well. Like as I said, with just the trainer as well, I think that's kind of been an underrated thing that's come out of this. The trainer is just a great way for even like pros and like high level players if they want to practice stuff. Like just if you can use it, like definitely think it's a really
Yeah.
good way of really like trying to optimize and practice things like in 2020. I think it's going to be great. But I think the only other thing that we want to mention, because it's been such a big week to wrap this up
Yeah,
as
it
well, we
really
want to.
has. It's been three major things that have happened.
Yeah, the other one that's really actually flown under the radar, and I've only just been made aware of this sort of in the background recently,
Yeah.
is that the TM2 cars, and I think the United cars as well, are
Yeah.
back in
They're in the
2020.
game.
They're in the game, so you can. All you need to do is go to the Envy Mix Discord, I believe, and they've got the files. There's a README on their zip. They've got a zip file. It's about 600 meg. Basically, it's just got the skins and the vehicles in it. You just read the instructions on the README text that it's got there, but you essentially just put the files into your game data folder, whether it's in Steam or Ubisoft. You just got to find the right folder, whack them in there, and then it's literally a matter of any map that has already been made that uses a specific car, like Canyon or Island or whatever. The map will just load with that car already. And then if you want to make your own maps with the custom cars, you can just edit a map in using Editor++, like the plugin tool.
Yeah.
And then you just select the car, save the map as you would. And there you go. You've got your own altered map with any of the cars, and you can just play any single map with these. So we haven't seen these cars, especially the TM2 cars. They were in the game for a little bit, and I never got to use them at the time. It was a few years ago. But then these were removed. I think Nadeo actually I don't know if they expressed concerns. I'm not sure what the story was with why they were removed or who
I think
actually removed them.
it was before the school option on Open Planet was a thing. So I think it was
Ah,
who I can't remember who it was, but someone was testing out. It might have been I think it was Bay Car, I want to say, and they were
yeah.
testing on a plastic bobsleigh map, and they just decimated the world record. And
Yeah.
they were so fast they didn't think about it as a possibility, and then they saw their record go off and they went, oh shit.
Yeah.
And look, fair to them, they did the absolute right thing, and they immediately contacted Nadeo and were like, hey, look, this is not legit. You can take a look at the run. Please don't ban me. I didn't think this was gonna happen.
Okay.
And so I don't think they got banned or punished or anything, but just like hey, yeah, don't do that again. Like,
Yeah.
cool off on having that. And he was like, all right, fine. But
Yeah.
so this now with the introduction of school mode is going to be a lot better. It's going to like the task tool as well, should
Yeah.
be just one more safety measure in stopping people from abusing this and cheating. But yeah, it really exciting time. Also with EWC around the corner, what a time it is for Trackmania at the moment.
Dude, this is like everything is happening. Like this is the month of
August
TM
has been huge.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the 2020 month. Like this will go down in history, and this is like, in general, this year has been such a wild year already. And
Yeah,
then
it really has.
you look at just this week, and it's
Yeah.
like, how could we get so many things just in one go? Like, what is this, Christmas in August? Like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
wow, it's unreal. But yeah, the other thing that I want to say with the cars as well, just to clarify, you can't just load up like any map that you want to play and just select the car like just straight out the gate. Like you can't just go, oh, I'm gonna go to a campaign and then select the car. Like you can't do that. It has to be either one of the other ways that I mentioned. So
Yeah.
I actually like another thing with safeguarding this as well. I don't think that there's going to be really a big issue with this either, unless they again find a way to sort of circumnavigate it or whatever. But I think this is a much more secure way than it was before, from what it sounds like.
Yeah,
I don't
for
know if
sure.
you agree.
Yeah, and I mean, I think in the way that the tools develop as well, even if they find a circumnavigation, you can just click on the record replay and look and think, well, that's not a stadium car.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just like you see this big bulky car and think, right.
Yeah,
So,
no, I don't think this is it. This ain't Stadium.
yeah.
Unless
Yeah,
people start confusing it as a skin.
yeah, which obviously that is the
but
case,
yeah.
but also you can, I remember Rowan, he sent a replay of him using one of the cars in on O1, and you can just tell instantly that it drives differently. The way it slid,
yeah,
the way
yeah,
it was,
for sure.
the way it was handling. It's like, right, this is not a car that is in the actual game. So
Yeah.
that, I think, in terms of the dangers of like world records and stuff, nowhere near the possibility and or danger of the task tool, but
Yeah.
still I think I'd be with the with all three of the things like the trainer, the task tool, and this. Dare I say, we're entering now what could be called the era of optimization,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
really maxing things out. I mean, the training tool is just incredible. That is going to be genuinely game changing for everyone. I mean, I remember
Yep.
on episode 1 of the podcast complaining about the fact that I needed part maps for the black tracks and stuff. That's no longer a thing I need to. I don't have to go beg Link for a part map for just to get gold medals. Like, I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, on
so,
top of that as well, we spoke about this in the recorded episode but not yet released episode.
Yeah.
But as a bit of a sneak preview,
Out
one of
soon, by
the
the way.
things we talk about is the transition from the campaign or like esports versions to the now EWC versions of the maps and the differences between those. So going from like campaign to esports, and with the changes that are there, you obviously have to create brand new part maps as well, because these guys would have had part maps for their maps for months on end and practicing these and everything, and then they've now had to use tools to either like import those changes over, or they've had to create new part maps. This just completely negates the need for that, so even better. So like all these things are just amazing things, like whether you're a pro, a casual, whatever it is, like this is great. I'm really, really excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, it is truly incredible, truly a historic month that August has been for TM 2020. So it'll be really, really interesting to see where we go from here. And obviously as well, I mean, just an incredible era, as we said, EWC right around the corner. This episode should be out before then, but if not, on the 19th of August. And TMFAST TV will be co-streaming it, we'll be recording that. So if you're interested in the pro scene, do stop by. And but yeah, I mean, just with the tasks, with the trainer, and the TM2 cars, just incredible week that it's really been. And it's just like one incredible discovery after the other, and each of them just overshadowing them. So it's just incredible.
Yep, 100%. I can't wait. I'm after this dead set. I'm gonna go play
Yeah,
those
I know
canyon
you're
maps,
hopping
man.
on. Yeah.
I'm going campaign.
Going
Canyon
straight
maps,
to the
man.
canyon.
I haven't played TM in a week, but like I've been playing United forever, and I've been hunting nations and stuff like that. But straight after this, I'm just getting on the canyon maps and I'm playing them, because this is gonna be great. I'm gonna do this while I can.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right, I reckon we can wrap things up.
Yeah, for sure. Quick little lightning video there. Thank you all so much for listening. Of course, I've been Archie, joined by Crude, and the other episode of the podcast, episode 2, as we mentioned, will be out very soon as well. So this one probably will be out first, and then expect the next episode to follow pretty quickly afterwards. So thank you all for listening. Hope everyone's had a great couple of months. And yeah, really excited to see what the future of TM 2020 is gonna have. And so, without further ado, I think that is all we wanted to say for this lightning episode.
That's it.
All right. Well, have a good day, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Take care.